What's going on, guys? My name is Aldenero and welcome to my FIFA 15 career mode wish list. This video has been in the works for a long time. I've come up with a fairly reasonable list, I think, but I've probably forgotten some things, and if I did and there's anything that you guys think I should have added, feel free to leave it in the comment section. That'd be pretty cool to read through. Maybe I could even do a follow-up to it, but I reckon I've covered all the things that I really want in the game. Before I start, if you guys are also Ultimate Team players on top of career mode, check out the FIFA coin mart. The link is in the description. You can buy FIFA coins there to buy packs on the World Cup mode or players on the normal mode or whatever it is you want. There's a discount code that says Eldenero90, and if you use that at checkout you'll get 5% off everything, which is pretty cool. So the first thing on my wish list is, it's quite a weird thing, right? But it would be nice if you could just resign from your club in the middle of the season and hang around. You know the way you simulate games and it shows the calendar going from week to week, and it doesn't really tell you the results of the games, but it just shows you moving along the calendar to the next area when you're gonna finish your simulation period or whatever. If you could just do that until you get another job offer, you know, like a list of clubs. If you get sacked from a club, it gives you a list of clubs to select from. It would be pretty cool if you could resign from your club and go on holiday until you get some kind of job offer from elsewhere. Another nice feature along the same lines, I think, would be if you could get an international job offer and then resign from your club, so that you could pretty much just be the country itself and take the country through a tournament, and then when you're done with that, resign and search for a new club at the start of the next season, like an entirely new project for yourself. Another thing that would be pretty useful, I think, would be if you could just start off managing a country, because time would move faster that way. You could get through that first season a lot quicker, and it just kind of makes sense. I don't really know why you can't do it. Similar to that, they've spoken about introducing some sort of emotional development with players for FIFA 15. Now, we don't really know what that's going to mean. It might be good, it might be bad, but it would be awesome if it meant that players formed opinions of their manager or other players. So, for example, Raul Sastre Royce is a regen in my longest serving career mode, and I've managed him for years now. It's very likely that since he's developed under my tuition, that I'd be one of his favourite personnel, and if I move to another club and bid for him, like, he'd be eager to join me at my new club because he respects me and likes playing under my management, because he's grown so much as a player under that when I plucked him from obscurity. All of these things, you know, these are sort of the result of your freedom in career mode as an actual manager being very limited in FIFA 14. You're sort of a slave to the board in a lot of ways. You have no weight within the club, your influence doesn't matter, and it's the same with other clubs too. It's all very samey in career mode. Another thing I'd really like to see, and this is really key, this would really add to my enjoyment, is more job offers at different clubs. As Everton manager, I won the Europa League, I won the Champions League, I managed Germany to the final of Euro 2016, and before that I led Everton to a brilliant victory over Real Madrid in the Super Cup, but nobody offered me a job anywhere until I had to apply for the Monaco job. That's 5 years of consistent winning with Everton and having to go and apply for the Monaco job. The likelihood of you getting a job that you've applied for depends on an arbitrary list of achievements and how you're managing with the targets that the board have set for you. But sometimes the board sets completely unrealistic targets, and if you fail to achieve them, you'll fail with every job offer that you apply for. This is stupid, because in my first season in the Champions League as Aston Villa manager, they expect me to win the entire tournament. So if I get knocked out by, say, Barcelona in the last 16, I won't be able to successfully apply for any other job at a similar sized club, and that's fucking nonsense, to be honest. Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, sometimes in real life, managers have ridiculous board pressure, and despite being very good and tactically astute, they fail at their jobs and they get sacked for whatever reason. Chelsea, I'm looking at you. But those managers go on to get better jobs elsewhere. It's stupid that in FIFA you can't do that. Another stupid thing is the Manager of the Month award. I've only ever won it once in any league in the entire game. How ridiculous that is. Like, anyone who follows my career mode series knows that I definitely deserve to have won it at least more than once. But managerial changes, they're another thing that I think really needs to change. They don't make any sense. Clubs never sack managers or change their managers, and even when a vacancy opens up at one club and doesn't get fulfilled, they simply reinstate the manager who was sacked in the first place, and that's just utterly ridiculous. It happens every single time, and sometimes you'll see, if you're looking through the job vacancies, let's say for example Liverpool and Chelsea are both vacant. So you apply for one of them and then they come back to you and say no, but then if you just exit and go back in, there'll be a list of different clubs who are looking for managers, and then if you continue on, then Liverpool and Chelsea are missing managers again. It makes no sense. There's no consistency there. The game hasn't registered that they have managers or that they've sacked managers. It just says, oh, we'll leave this as a vacancy, despite the fact that the player clearly can't apply for it because he's not going to win the Champions League in his 4th season with Birmingham City. It's stupid. The global transfer network is not necessarily bad, but it's been implemented very poorly. I kind of do agree with the concept of it. It does make sense to me. But say I want to sign a player in the Bundesliga and I'm playing in the Premier League, it's fair enough that I can't see all of his stats until I scout him. Like, let's say I'm managing Everton, I want to sign a guy who plays for Hoffenheim. It makes sense that I wouldn't be able to see his stats, right? Because I don't play against him week in, week out. There are no managers in the same league who've seen him regularly or anything like that. But say I'm managing Everton and I want to sign a Newcastle player, I should have a basis for his stats, like, to work with and figure out if I want to scout him further. There should be a very, it doesn't even have to be overly limited, but it, like, let's say you're managing Everton, you want to sign Remy, you're going to know what his stats are like, you're going to see him week in, week out. It's quite simple. It should just have those stats there. Now sometimes it does. I don't know what kind of system it uses to figure out when it does and it doesn't, but it just would make more sense to me if all clubs in the same league could see an arbitrary number for what kind of stats were available. But other than that, I'm kind of okay with the global transfer network. I do think though that if you scout someone for 30 days, that's say 4 weeks, that's 4 games. Sometimes if it's a big club, that could be 8 games. It could even be 10 games with the fixture congestion on FIFA, which is another thing they should fucking look at. But if you have that sort of knowledge of a player, you should be able to be given an overall rating. Do you know what I mean? Another thing, that just a really quick thing, is you should be able to sign free agents outside the transfer window. I think that would make a lot of sense. You can do that in real life. There's a date, there's a cutoff point in real life from when you have to stop signing free agents, and I think that's from December to January. So it would make sense if you could do it in the game. Another really cool thing I think that could be added to FIFA 15 that would make the game an awful lot better is parent or feeder clubs. Like, let's say you're managing a big team or even a lower half Premier League team, it doesn't really matter, but it'd be great if you were able to ask the board to set up a link with another league, another team in another league, maybe a lower league or maybe a lower rated team from another nation. Like, for example, if I'm managing Stoke City and I've got a few young players I'd like to develop but they're not ready for first team football, I'm not going to want to risk them in the first team, because let's say I'm Stoke and I'm struggling, then it's not going to be worth my while putting young players in the team and losing and potentially getting relegated. So it would be cool if you could suggest to the board that these players go out on loan to a team like St. Mirren or somebody like that. That would make sense to me. On top of that, it'd be great if you got reports on the players' progress after you've loaned them out, instead of loaning them out and hoping that they come back fully developed. Another neat addition, I think, would be they could add you the right to have more control over your players' development. Like, I had a right back called Jimmy Muratori who was my scout future star, and he basically developed the stats of a midfielder. Like, his actual defensive stats rarely increased. His position was right back. If I could have retrained his position, I could have maximized his potential, his game time, and ultimately just have a better player than what I was given. Another cool feature, I think, would be the ability to focus a player's development towards a specific trait. For example, if I have a player with 90 dribbling and 90 agility, in theory it shouldn't be too much of a stretch for me to attempt to train him to use 4-star skills. I don't understand why in FIFA skill moves have to be a static number. Like, a player could have 2-star skills but 90 dribbling and 90 agility, and that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, that's just nonsense, to be quite honest. But one more thing that I'm gonna say, this idea I actually got from Chani Sports, who is another career mode YouTuber, and I watched his wishlist video and it was very good, and if I remember I'll leave a link to it in the description, and you should go check him out because he is an awesome career mode YouTuber, one of the best around at the moment, honestly. But this idea was his, and I'm gonna say what it is and then expand on it a little bit. He came up with the idea that you could start unemployed and get offers from lower rated clubs, because let's say you start as a new manager with pretty much no history or anything like that. The only clubs that you can apply for are, you know, bad clubs as such. But to even expand on that further, if you could start as an unemployed manager and select your experience, just like you can do in Football Manager, like you could be a former international superstar or a Sunday League player or everything that comes in between, and base your job offers off of that to start your own journey and your own personal career mode, I think that would be awesome. But yeah, that's the entire video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If there's anything that I missed out and you guys feel that I really should have talked about it, do leave a comment. I'll look through them. I sort of feel like I'm forgetting something, but you know when you get into a creative mode where you're coming up with ideas for something, you always leave the obvious things out, so hopefully I didn't do that. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy the video, please do leave a like. That would be awesome. I would really appreciate that. Let me know if you agree or disagree with whatever I've said. And that's the entire video. I've been El Dinero. Thanks for watching.